We are about to explore the largest and arguably the most expensive resort ever built in West Africa. What you are seeing right now is an ecosystem built 1,600 meters above sea level with its own waterfall, cable cars, mountain cabins, and a lot more. Beginning construction in 2005, the developers planned for this resort to attract millions of tourists from all over the world, and on completion was named one of the most beautiful places in Africa. This area now lies desolate and is what many people would call a ghost town.
It's like lighting a lamp and keeping it under the table. No one does that.
If you're curious like me, I'm sure you're wondering what really happened and if this place is still in use. Today, I begin my adventure to Calabar in Nigeria to explore this remote region and to speak to the locals in hopes of figuring out why such a beautiful project with so much potential got abandoned. Getting to Obudu wasn't going to be a walk in the park. The trip should normally take 6 hours, but took us 9 to 10 hours due to how bad the roads were. But we finally arrived. So Obudu Cattle Ranch is currently located in Obudu, a region of Cross River State in Nigeria, and shares close boundaries with Cameroon. It used to be a remote village up in the hills with mostly nomads and livestock farmers living here until 1949 when a Scottish rancher came across it. He saw the potential and had the idea of making it into a resort, which he eventually founded in 1951 with his friend. Eventually it was passed down to the Cross River State government, who still operates it today.
Obudu Cattle Ranch presents a perfect opportunity for tourism within the country.
The ranch covers an area of 1,600 meters and is located at the top of a plateau that's 5,200 feet above sea level. We're shown to our cabin, which was part of a cross-section of 20 beautiful structures perched at the top of a hill, which had a really amazing view of the surrounding areas. My best part about our cabin was that you could experience sunrise and sunset from the open deck. There were also cattle grazing around the ranch. I'm someone who loves being in nature and just unplugging, and to be honest, this felt like the perfect place to do that.
Sweet, nice.
In the evening, we encountered our first problem.
We're in beautiful darkness.
As we're currently out here, it's so beautiful as you can see. Oh, sorry, you can't see anything because it's dark, there's no light. Oh, that goes running in the darkness. And it's really sad because this place would have looked really beautiful at night. Oh, okay, came on.
Let there be light.
Currently, they put on a little bit of light for us, so we kind of like have light. We were the only ones in any of the cabins. Every other cabin was empty and looked like it had been broken into. Our glass have break. And everywhere was really silent. More darkness. Went into the jungle to go and find some semolina.
I've not eaten this much swallow in my entire life.
So this costs 4,000 naira per plate. Well, it's worth it. I was optimistic about this trip, so I went to bed with a plan to wake up the next morning to explore more of the ranch. It's a beautiful morning out here currently in Obudu Cattle Ranch. You get to watch the sunrise on this side. The first place to look at was the presidential villa, which was used to house the 3 past presidents of Nigeria whenever they came visiting.
This is happening in the lifetime of Obasanjo.
I just want to show you guys the potential of this place and what it currently is now. I think it was commissioned by Musaya Adua, the president. This was in 2007. Whenever the president comes into Obudu Cattle Ranch, this is where he actually would stay. All the glasses you can see here, they are all bulletproof glasses. I don't even think anybody has stayed in this place for years because it just looks empty and everything is just rotting away. And this is one of the reasons why I actually stopped doing a lot of videos about tourism in Nigeria, because every time you go to all these spots and you want to promote them, you get there and then by the time you see the reality of the place, it just makes you feel really sad. When I asked around, I was told that the last time any president ever visited was over 10 years ago due to the dilapidated conditions of the place, and the building looked like it was hanging on by a thread. So just to prove that this was bulletproof, back then, according to the people on ground, they said Obasanjo came and then he stood somewhere there and the short are these glasses. So these that you can see are all bullet holes of the bullets that never penetrated. I wanted to see more of the site, so our guide took us around. There's a very beautiful waterfall on that side of the mountain, but we can't get there. From here to the waterfall.
To that waterfall, it's 3 hours going, 3 hours coming back.
Wow, that one is definitely out of the question because of my legs. Usually during the rainy season, everything is green and the clouds are always close to the mountains. Looking down the mountains, our guide informed me of a cable car which in the past took people down the mountain, and I was really looking forward to riding it. Keep going, keep going. Don't be lazy. Obudu Cattle Ranch has so much greenery, and one of the best ways to experience this was taking a canopy walk above the trees. Even with the fact that most of the things are not usually how they're meant to be, but it still really looks nice here, and I'm actually happy I'm here. It feels so cool to be surrounded by nature.
We're going down and we have to climb back up, but it feels nice.
It feels nice.
I can hear birds. Birds chirping.
Good.
Can we camp here?
Camp early. With what I had seen so far, I was really nervous about walking across a metal extension bridge because I wasn't sure of when last any work was done to maintain it. Currently 700 plus feet from the ground. I noticed that many parts of the canopy walk was falling apart. Walking across it meant you had to be very selective of where you stepped, and this made me feel like I was in an episode of Indiana Jones. We have this wonderful woman here. She's had to sell us some beautiful local chicken from Obudu.
Cheers.
It was noon, so we're already very hungry. I decided to head to the main restaurant area, which was beside a conference center that was used to cater to the hundreds of guests that came here, and it was empty. Not just empty, but it also presented a major safety hazard. One of the saddest parts about being here is seeing things that if they were functioning, they would have given tourists an amazing experience. Like, check this out. This used to be the international restaurant, but look at what it looks like now. And I'm even afraid to even stand on it because there's even a big hole there and everything is just shut down. My heart sank. What really happened? Standing on the deck as the sun was fast setting, I could only imagine what it must have felt like to have a meal or drink here and watch the sunset. And I can imagine how it must have been back then, but this is what it is now. After going around and doing all these activities and tour, normally you're meant to just go to the spa and probably just get a massage or just relax. But spa is also shut down, restaurant is shut down, conference center is shut down.
If I don't fix the ranch before I leave, next time whoever takes over from me will say, well, you who is from there, what did you do up the ranch?
As someone who has traveled the length and breadth of this country and made videos about different places, my heart always sinks when I visit places and see the level of attention given to them. It's even worse when it was built and then left to rot. Nigeria as a country loses so much every year from untapped tourism due to the government's total disdain for any form of income that doesn't do with exporting oil. To give you an idea of the power of travel and tourism when done right by a country, South Africa's tourism sector generates over 740,000 direct jobs, and in 2019, over 13 million people visited Morocco. With all the amazing places that exist in Nigeria, there is no reason we can't do these numbers. This would have added a big boost to our GDP on a yearly basis while providing more jobs for more people. If the Nigerian government is aware of this, then why does this happen over and over again? I was still looking for something to make an already disappointing day great, so I decided to head out for a walk along a road they call the Intestine Road because of its winding patterns. Across the hill on both sides were lots of cattle headers who were grazing with their cattle. Which one of your cattle for you? Oh. So if you guide these ones now, go one side?
Yes, sir.
Now I see as you go take two out. There's kind of like a language they speak. You can see that it's making a sound. This one's actually very big. How much be one if person won't buy? 500,000. Wow. So he said one of these cattle is like 500,000, which is $500,000 naira, which is almost $1,000. Let's say like this one that is not so big. Beef is really expensive. Maybe I should go into cattle here. This YouTube thing, I don't know. It's not paying me as much.
Tire no farms.
Tire no farms. Oh! So we're going to a spot where we're going to be able to see the intestine road now. It's really bumpy, but we are getting close. To get to the spot, you need to walk up this hill. Whoa. Guys, this is remarkable. The road was a nice piece of engineering and at least one of the things that have lasted and was still functioning so far here. This is usually what is meant to take people from the cable car house there all the way down the hill where they can get the beautiful view. And I can imagine what it would look like if I was actually inside one of these cable cars. But apparently people in charge of cable cars are on strike, so we can't get to access it, which is really sad. To take all our things so far, I went to a mini waterfall that was located in a different section of the ranch. Waterfall! We're going to the waterfall! Avoid the fall at the waterfall, use the handrails. Water comes all the way from a stream there and it goes all the way down here. And the funny thing is, even when you're here and you're going around and you're doing all these activities, you don't feel like you're stressed out because the weather is really cool. And you can also get to sit down under this tree here and get just some of that cool vibe. The water from there fills up this hole and then people can actually swim here. So you can camp here, chill here and experience this beautiful natural pool. But it would have been nicer if it was functional. There's something similar to this in Tanzania where the turtles swim, and that was where the turtle beat me in my last video. I flew all the way from Nigeria to Tanzania just to experience the pool with turtles. This is what we have here currently, Sha. We can look at it, but we can't get it, which is pretty sad. How much be this one like this?
600.
600? So I'm a banana connoisseur. I know bananas all around the world.
All around the world? Bananas?
I got some bananas, I'm gonna party.
You got some bananas, you gonna party?
I don't know where your brain is taking it.
Hey, about
hold
bananas.
my banana for me. Just hold it, hold it. Hold it from the bottom. From here, we took a bike ride to a spot called the Holy Mountain, which had one of the most amazing views ever. And this was the highlight of my day. We're headed to the Holy Mountain now, and we had to drop our cars and get on these bikes with these awesome gentlemen here. So let's go!
During the Civil War, people that ran to this mountain were saved. If you can see those heaps of sand on top of the mountain there, those are bunks, holes that people were hiding those days. Missionaries do come here for prayers. People come to pray for fruit of the womb, health problem, and they come back with testimony. That's why this place is a holy mountain.
I'd heard that lots of people come here to pray and drop offerings. There is something about praying at a very high location that I believe makes people feel like they are closer to their gods. There's a tithe box there where you can drop money. Let me see if I can actually drop some money. Our guy is paying my tires. And in 1 month time, Lord, I shall return to this place with a testimony. In the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. This is the tithe box here. I'm dropping some money into it. And I just want to say a quiet prayer to God. First of all, I want to pray for 1 million subscribers before the end of the year. I have many other prayers that I'll pray. Let me just be my moment of prayer. In Jesus' mighty name, I've prayed. Amen. Before we continue our exploration of this resort, I would love to talk about a long-time sponsor of this channel and the sponsor of today's video, Epidemic Sound. Epidemic Sound has been my go-to source for music for years. It's great for online video creators like me who want to make money from their videos without having it demonetized. Music determines how people feel when they're watching your videos. For example, here is a clip of music number 1. And then this is music number 2. You can see that by just changing the music, you get a different feeling even though it's the same clip. And this is where Epidemic Sound comes in. Epidemic Sound owns 100% of all their music, so there's never a chance that your videos will receive a claim or takedown, which can be very painful. The Epidemic Sound has over 35,000 tracks and 90,000 sound effects, and new tracks are being added daily. I currently use the personal plan, which is great if you're creating content or podcasts for your own use on your own channels, and most platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram are covered. To get started, sign up for the personal plan by clicking on the link in the description below. So now let's jump right back into the video. Finally, to close off the day, I wanted to see the water parks and the cable cars. So I asked the guide, how about the cable cars which are built for you to take a scenic ride up and down the mountain? Could I see that at least, as I'd been looking forward to taking a ride on it on this trip? Last time this thing worked was 2015, which is like 7 years ago, and everything is still here. If you look in here, you can see that everything here was made in Switzerland. Why was the government blind to the potential right in front of them? Like a lot of investment went into this. Just experiencing something from the ground and experiencing it from a cable car is actually different. And I feel like that was the vision behind building this, but here we are now. I believe apart from the lack of adequate infrastructure, there is also a maintenance problem. Nigeria doesn't have a maintenance culture, which is reflected in most of the projects across our dear country. Once a structure is built and all the photographs have been taken, adequate resources aren't put in place to ensure that quality is retained throughout its lifespan, and this is reflective from everything we see around us today. Another problem is change of government and internal politics. There is no long-term plan, so everyone comes to the table with their own agendas. If the first governor likes tourism and the next one doesn't, then it's bye-bye to all the infrastructure that has been built in that state, which is the sad case of Obudu. On my way back to Calabar the next day, I decided to stop at the Tinapa Resort, which was meant to be our version of Hollywood. This was a resort that was built in 2007. It was meant to be a business and tourism resort. It was meant to attract a lot of people. This is the studio, but the whole of this place has been abandoned now, so there's nothing here. It's kind of like a ghost town. How can this be solved? I'm someone who doesn't just like to talk about problems without preferring some solutions, and the best solutions for most of our tourism spots like Obudu and the rest is that they should all be privatized and sold to the right people who can turn it around. I also believe the ease of doing business in every sector, especially the tourism sector, should be opened up and encouraged. A page can be taken from Rwanda where you can open a new business in less than 4 hours. Finally, I believe the right leadership plays a big role, and that is why in the upcoming election, we should be selecting leaders who have a vision for the future and who can lead Nigeria in the right way possible, so that we don't end up becoming a sad story like the Obudu Cattle Ranch. Everywhere I go, I've always tried to have a great time despite the situation, and Obudu in Calabar was no different despite all the challenges. Being here was really calming, and I got a chance to unplug and not be on social media all day. I also got a chance to meet and connect with the locals and see one of the most amazing landscapes in Nigeria. I'm someone who is able to adapt to multiple situations, so not having running water or electricity wasn't going to spoil my trip. Living with less has always been my lifestyle, but that shouldn't be the case for everyone else in a country as rich as Nigeria. We shouldn't always have to suffer and smile every time. Every Nigerian deserves to live in a working society where all our basic needs are met. After all is said and done, Cross River is an amazing place to live, work and play. I love the calmness, the food and the vibe here. The people here are really hospitable, and as someone who has lived most of my life in a fast-paced environment like Lagos, it reminded me to slow down, be in the moment and just live, and I would definitely be visiting again. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.